All right, welcome everyone to the Craig Holiday 90 Days to Excellence conference call program. This is, I believe, our 7th call in the series, correct, Craig? We getting near the end?
Yeah, we have 7 and 8 next week, and at this point, it's 8 total, so we'll be done after next week's call.
All right. Well, we've been having such a great time on these calls. We've had some great feedback from the field and all the information that's out there. As a reminder, all these calls are recorded and available in the back office. We post them up by the day after the call, if not by that day at noon. So if you miss a call, make sure to check it out in the recording online. You can download it and share it with your organization. And without any further delay, don't forget, I want to make sure that everyone remembers that on September 25th, Craig and the Boys of Summer will be in Chicago for the final and last chance to be in front of these guys for the SOS Summer of Success Tour that has been basically barnstorming the country for the last month and a half or so. And so with Larry Zimberg and MJ Durkin and Craig and Carl, we have just an amazing lineup of guys out there having some great training for the coaches around the country, and the feedback that we've been receiving from these events has been overwhelming. So don't forget, check your calendars. If you're anywhere near Chicago or in the surrounding states and want to get in front of the best training possible in the summer, you want to make sure you get up to that Chicago SOS event on the 25th in downtown Chicago. So without any further delay, I want to turn the call over to Craig. This is call number 7 of the series, The Glue, which is relationships that keep this business together. So Craig, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Hello out there to everybody. I love the people we saw in Vegas over the weekend. Had an incredible event, and what an unbelievable group of people there over the weekend. Some phenomenal leaders showed up, even those not even in the Vegas area, from all over the country, and that's kind of what we've been seeing in all these summer success tours is leaders step in that, have groups there that are willing to spend the time, effort, and their money to get to those events just to be around the people. And we saw that in Nashville. We saw it in Dallas. We've seen it everywhere we've been. So it's been really exciting. Next week in Chicago, we're going to blow it up. I mean, it's our last SOS. Kind of sad because I think it's been just an incredible tour. And again, just love getting out with the people. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about this morning is the people, the relationships in this business. And I think all of us know after we've been in this business a while that it's really not about Shakeology and it's not about the products, even though those are the driving force that makes us money in this business, that the real glue of this business becomes relationships. Your ability to relate to people, your ability to get involved in people's lives and to change their lives. And, to lead, we must truly understand how people feel, how they think, and who they really are. And if we're going to be leaders in this business, we have to become what I call people experts. We have to really understand people. And I think for a lot of us, that can be a difficult task because most of us probably look in the mirror and say, I don't even understand myself. How am I going to be able to understand anybody else? And I think a lot of it, and we're going to talk about that today, there's some skill to learn that. There's some skill to learn what it means to relate to other people. But overall, people are drawn to this business because of you. I know we use third-party tools and we use those to get out to people to introduce them to this business, but eventually they have to meet you as their coach. And the more you can relate to those people, the more you can draw those people out, the more you can develop the dreams of those people's lives, the more it is that you're going to be able to make a difference in the lives of people. So, in talking about that, I want to tell you a story that I heard one time. It's kind of an interesting story. It's a story about a guy sitting outside of a town, and 2 riders ride up, and the first rider shows up, and he asks the guy, hey, tell me about this town. And the old guy sitting there said, well, it's kind of an awful town. The people aren't very friendly. It's a difficult place to live. Nobody really gets along, and it's not really a place you'd want to be. The rider rode into the town, and that's exactly what he found. The next rider rode up, and the guy asked him, what's that town like? He said, it's a beautiful town. It's absolutely gorgeous. You'll love every minute of it. You'll love the time you spend there. You'll love the people that are there. And when the rider rode into the town, that's exactly what he found. And when I think about that, I think about our relationships with people. Who we are to those people will be their reflection of themselves. And so for a lot of us, the fear that when we first get in this business is we start to understand that once we get it, and once we really really get it, we realize that our ability to grow our business is going to come in our ability to relate to people and to draw people out, to talk about their dreams, to get inside their hearts, their souls, and to get inside who they really are. And for a lot of us, that's a fear. There's a fear to that. I know a lot of people get in this business and they're not really, quote, people. And so therefore there's a fear right off the bat because they realize when you say go out and do 2 exposures a day or 3 exposures a day, there's immediate fear that sets in. And I think that fear comes from the fact that we're insecure about ourselves and our own lives. So I really believe the first part of the glue moving forward, it has to do with our own selves. And that is beginning to realize who we are and what we're about and what we're able to do. And, one of the talks I'm going to do, the final talk here is on hand-me-downs. It talks about personal growth and the things that we carry in our lives that we want to get rid of, that we wish we didn't have, that keep us limited and keep us stifled and keep us handicapped in building relationships and moving forward. So the first thing in starting relationships has to be ourselves. It has to start with us. Even though you hear me talk a lot as I'm traveling around the country, is that it's not about you, but it has to begin with us. Because until we can put the past behind us, until we can quit turning around and facing backwards and not facing forward, then we carry everything forward with us. We all need to get to a point where we can glance over our shoulder and learn from the things that have happened to us. In my life, I grew up in a not such a great home. Got abandoned by a father when I was 7. All those were issues in my life that I carried with me. They were in the trunk of my life. And it wasn't until I came to the point in my life where I could start to empty that trunk and get rid of some of those things that I could move forward and what I call break the chains in my life, so that I could bless my own children and hopefully be involved in the lives of people and make a difference for them. So really a big part of us, our start with our relationships and the glue in our businesses, we have to start with us. That's why we deal with personal growth. That's why we spend so much time talking about our own personal growth and own challenges and overcoming fears and overcoming objections and overcoming the past. And I know for a lot of us on this call, we've probably been through counseling and therapy, and we've been through a lot of the things that it takes for us to move forward. And so we don't end up in this confused state in our lives. But I got to tell you, the first of all today to start with is that the dream is what's going to drive you forward. It's the dream in your life, the why of your life, that's going to get you to go through the obstacles that hurt so much to have to go through. And, once we focus on the dream and we start to see ourselves, and this is one of the things we need to do as leaders, is we need to see people for who they're going to be, not who they are today. We need to have a vision. I always prayed that I could have a vision that every time I sat down with a new person that I was trying to bring into my business, that I could see them the way they were going to be, not how they were today. And once you see that for someone else, once you can see where they're going to be instead of where they are, they become that person. And that becomes a gift that you give to people. And for a lot of us, some of us are better than others at doing it. But it's really taking our eyes off ourselves. And then once we evaluate and get to a point where we can do it, then we start being about others. We start caring about others instead of just about ourselves. And once we can do that, then we see our businesses begin to grow. Because your business relationships will be a complete reflection of you, right, of understanding yourself. Because once you can engage in a relationship and you're not afraid to love somebody, you're not afraid to care about somebody, you don't have all these fears of rejection and all the things that you've carried in your life that have kept you from moving on in your life, then we're free to love. We're free to great relationships. We're free to coach. We're free to engage. We're free. We don't fear rejection. We don't fear the things that keep us stifled in our lives so much. And so a lot of what we're talking about today, and we're going to talk about over the next 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, it really doesn't have to do with how do I build my business technique. It's not how to do exposures. It's not how to do presentations. It's not how to get customers. It's more about the people you deal with every single day, what their expectations of you are, what they need from you as coaches. And what we need to give as coaches is we need to give to people the ability to believe they can become something different. And that's why we talk about it. That's the vision for them. And when I work with people, one of the things I always want to speak to is the truth of what they're going to become, not who they are today. The reality of who they are today, but the truth of where they are moving forward. Because relationships are difficult. You know it. Those of you who have marriages, those of you who have relationships with your kids, your friends, there are always things come up, issues come up, struggles come up. It's going to be the same way in your business. You're going to have issues with coaches. Some days you're going to have great relationships with them. Other days you're going to struggle with them. Some days you're going to tell them things to do and they don't do it. You get upset and struggle. But I think that one of the biggest things has to come back to the point is that understanding that other people's lives and understanding what they're going through and not joining the pity party, but getting them out of it and helping them to move forward with that. But I think a big part of it is for us is understanding what it is that people need. So I'm going to give you 7 points today of what I believe people need from you. And if you can develop these and you can give these to people in your downline, to your coaches, to the people you bring in the business, and even translate it over to relationships in your own personal life. Number one, they like to feel special. Number one, people like to feel special. So my point is, you have to sincerely compliment them. All right? People come into your business, and there's very few people in their lives that ever make them feel special, ever make them feel like that they're more than common, that they're more than average. And so if you can become that light, I call it a light because sometimes in this business it's like turning over a rock and all these you've seen these little bugs and they all run for the darkness. And I think a lot of people get in this business and they live under those rocks and they live in this darkness and they're afraid for any light to be put in their lives. And what you guys become is you become that light to them. You put a light on them. And really that light is you and who you are and your compassion and your ability to love them, your ability to care about them, and your ability to take them to the next level in their life, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever level it is. as we build relationships in this business, you begin to build, trust, and you begin to build the fact that people will listen to what you have to say. So we need to sincerely compliment people. There's a difference between sincerely complimenting and flattery. We're not talking about flattery here. We're not talking about false information constantly to someone just to make them feel good about themselves. What I like to compliment people on in this business, I like to compliment them on what I believe they can become. I like to compliment them on the accomplishments that they've done. I like to compliment them on the fact that they're in this business, they're struggling with it, they're challenged, they're trusting, they're willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. But people need to feel special. A lot of people get in your business, and that's what's lacking in their life. They're drawn to it because they go to a weekend like Summer of Success, and they leave, and they can't really explain what was so great about it. But I know what was great for a lot of them was the ability that they left feeling special about their lives. They felt like they weren't just the common. They weren't just the norm. My talk on Saturday at Summer Success has been pretty much the same at each one of them, but it's been about getting it. You got to get it. And once they get it, they start to realize that they've been called out. This is a mission for them. This is their sweet spot. This is something that they've been called to do. And once they understand that, they start feeling special because they're not just status quo. They're just not part of the crowd. They've been made to feel different. And I believe that our goal as leaders in this business, our goal as us on stage, whether it's Carl, me, or Larry, or MJ, or any of us, our goal is to understand these people want to feel special, and how do we sincerely compliment them? How do we encourage them to feel that way? Number two, people want a better tomorrow, so you need to show them hope. All right, people want a better tomorrow. People got to believe that tomorrow is going to be better for them. And so we need to show them hope. And how do we show them hope? It goes back to the dream again. But not only do we give them the dream, but for the glue of the business, we need to live that life. Our hope from our downline comes to us because why? Because they see us succeeding. They see us successful. They see what comes out of our mouth every day. They see the life we live. They see the compliment we are to other people. They see that we are different. And so that's showing them hope that they can become different. And then the success in the business that shows the people that are successful in this business that make a lot of money, that, like Mike and Tammy French that just went to their dream home in San Diego and left Maine. And I talked to Mike over the weekend, and he was talking about how he's living a dream, right? Well, he's shown hope to his people. Their hope that Mike did this, Tammy, they came from nothing, and look at where they are today. And so that's, people want a better tomorrow. Nobody you sit down with, even though sometimes people say they don't have a dream, and they may not even have the DNA that we've talked about, but they want it to be better. And we have in our hands, because of the glue in this business, because of the relationships, we have in our hands the ability to build people a better tomorrow, to give them hope, to take a deep breath, and that tomorrow's going to be a better day. Because you know how many people go to bed at night and don't think there's anything that's going to change in their life tomorrow? And then someone like you shows up, shares a business with them, and pretty soon they get it, and they realize that it isn't about the business. The glue in the business is your relationship with them, that there's somebody they can trust, there's somebody that believes in them, that somebody can help them lose 100 pounds or 50 pounds or 20 pounds. And that was Carl's premise starting this company. He knew that people, if they're going to do life change, they need what? They need accountability. They need a mentor. They need someone that can reach into their life and make a difference. So people want a better tomorrow. And our goal to keep the glue in our business so that it grows, that it stays together, that it continues to grow, that the relationships are strong. As leaders, we need to show people hope. Number three, they desire direction, so navigate them. For those of you who heard my talk on how to get a coach started effectively, one of the biggest things I talked about in that was posture. Your posture as a leader, your ability to what? To be strong with people, to navigate their life, to take charge of that life and be willing to get on the road to the lake with them and run with them if they want, or walk with them if they want. However they need to get there, your goal is to take them with you, right? So you need to navigate them. So many times we're afraid to be strong with people. We're afraid to speak truth into their lives. We're afraid to challenge them and call them out and challenge them to the next level in their life. If somebody says to me that a lot of times someone will say, I want to be 2-star diamond in a year, and I say, well, let's do it in 6 months because I want to challenge you. But I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to lead you. So people desire direction. Everybody wants a leader. Everybody wants someone to lead them, somebody they can trust. And so you want glue in your business. You want business that has relationships. You want business that's strong, that'll be here 10 years from now, 15, 20 years from now. Then you need to navigate your people. You need to be willing to be the navigator for them. Get the roadmap. You got the game plan. Sit down with it and now navigate them to where they want to go. And so they do desire direction. And that's a strong commonality of people. If you understand that, then you begin to build the relationships and you begin to learn what it means to be a people expert. Number 4, they're selfish. They want to deal with their needs first. Most of us are pretty selfish, and that's okay. When I get somebody sponsored in this business, if I'm building a business, I know that they want their things. They want what they want. They're not in business for me. They're in business for themselves. They have dreams. They have goals. They want to help their family. They want to do all these kinds of things. So when you sit down with your people in your group, it's not about you. It's not about you talking about who you are and what you've succeeded and how much money you make and how successful you are in this business. I want to deal with their needs. That's why the first thing I ask with a new coach is, what do you want? When do you want it? What do you want? When do you want it? Right? Because it's about their life. You're never going to build glue in a business by constantly being the big deal, constantly being talking about who you are, your business, and what you're about, because they don't really care about that. Just lead by being quiet and leading. Lead by changing rank every 90 days. Lead by being an example more than what comes out of your mouth. But people are selfish. The people I sit down with that I get started in this business as a coach, I know it's about their life, and I'm good with that. So I'm going to deal with their needs first, whatever those needs are. Whether it's personal change, personal growth, time issues. Let's get your calendar out. Let me help you establish what your weekly plans, what your weekly goals are going to look like. Because people are selfish. They're about themselves. They want what they want out of life. So we need to deal with their needs first. And if we do that, that's the commonality. If we do that, we learn to become a people expert. Point number 5, we are all emotional beings. We need to encourage them, right? People need encouragement. If I could tell you the one greatest thing that you will build the most successful networking business that's ever existed and make the most money you've ever dreamed about making is when you become the greatest encourager of people. That when they leave you, they'll never, ever, ever be the same again. And I don't care if it's sitting down in a 35 or 40-minute presentation. I know that when I spend that time with them, I'm going to be an encourager in their life that they've never had before. Someone who believes in them right now, even though they could be someone I met at Starbucks 2 days ago. I know in the 35 or 40-minute time I spend with them that they're going to see the encouragement that I can be in their life. People are thriving. People are shrinking. People are wilting from lack of encouragement. The greatest encouragers in this business, I work with bunches of them. Coming to my mind right now, Tracy Morrow. I think of Tracy Morrow as one of the most incredible encouragers I've ever met. She encourages me, my relationship with her, my friendship with her. She makes me better when I spend time with her. She's a professional encourager. Doug Fitzgerald, same kind of person, right? A professional encourager. So you want to know how to build glue in your business? You want to know how to build a gigantic, large organization? Then you become the greatest encourager of your people. When they make a phone call to you, even if they're calling you about a task or calling about an accountability or calling you about something that has nothing to do with anything personal, I'm going to encourage them during that time. I'm going to make sure they get off the phone with me and they're better than when they got on the phone. Nobody needs to hear your problems. Nobody needs to hear your pity party. When you show up at a meeting like Summer of Success, or you show up at a briefing, show up in Chicago at Summer of Success, you be the greatest. When you walk in the door, you be the biggest encourager for the next 2 days. From the briefing on Friday night to the workout time, patting people on the back, giving them high fives, telling them that you believe in them. And great leaders become great encouragers. The greatest you can give someone is encouragement. So number 5 was we are emotional beings. We all need encouragement. There isn't one of us that can survive or live without it. And hopefully each one of us have that special person in our life that is our greatest encourager. And if it's in relationship to the business, hopefully it's our coach. And if it's not our coach, then find someone who can do that for you in your life so that you can grow in this business. Because when someone encourages you, you're stronger than you were before you sat down with them. Point number 6, if you want success, then help them to win. This business, you know what I love about it? No one will ever succeed if they don't help other people succeed. If I don't make you better, if I don't make your life better, if I don't participate at a level in your life that I can see you win in life, I will never have success in this business. So the biggest part of my glue in this business comes the fact that I've got to teach people how to win. And that means I've got to win because words are meaningless. What comes out of our mouth about what we tell people to do, if we're not doing it, it comes back void and it doesn't count. So we need to look back at ourselves again first and realize that we have to be succeeding every single day in this business. Our glue will come, our grip in this business, our large organization will come from the fact that we are winning at this business. And then we can teach them to win. But you can't teach people to win unless you're winning. Coaches don't get hired in professional football if they don't have a winning record. People don't get hired as professional coaches, in whether it's high school, college, professional level. If they don't have a winning record, no one wants them. No one hires them to coach their team. What's your record look like? When you talk about our business and the winners in our business and the people we want to lead, and you think right now, if you could sit down in your mind and close your eyes and think of the top leaders in your business and those you care about and those you love so much and those that are special in your life, if you think about those people, those are the people you have to win for because they're looking to you. like I talked about how to start, teaching a kid how to ride a bike. There's eyes looking up at you saying, are you sure I can do this? Do you really believe I can do this? And you run alongside until they can run, until they're strong. But you've got to be running yourself. Don't call yourself a leader. You'll never have glue in your business if you're not the example every single day of what it means to succeed in this business, that you're making more money every week and that your business is growing. And that's how you help your people to win. It's not about what you tell them. It's about how you're living your life. Number 7 is you must adopt leadership style to the person you're leading. That's why I talked a lot about Personality Plus in Florence Littauer's book, and she's just an incredible human being because she is a people expert. She's 82 years old now. She's helped probably over 25 men and women write books and change people's lives because she helped them change their lives. And so she understands people, and you need to too. That's why hopefully you've read the Personality Plus. You've taken the test, because if I don't know my people, if I don't know them intimately, I don't have glue in my business. I don't have relationships in my business. I need to know how to encourage each social style, each personality style. I can't train you with my social style. I got to do it with yours. The 4 social styles, we've talked about them before. Just mention them quickly this morning. There's the choleric, right? The choleric's a rhino. Okay, that's the animal for a choleric. A choleric is a driver, strong personality. Most of the time, they're great leaders. But you know what you do with a choleric? You challenge them, right? You don't keep telling a choleric how great they are and how impressive they are, because they already know they are. What I want to do is challenge them in their life. And so we need to learn that. If I'm working with a choleric personality, I've got to be a challenger to them. What's their problem? What are their challenges? They're not good listeners. They like to boss people instead of lead people. So when I'm working with those types of people and I want to have glue in my business and I want to be able to build relationships, I got to understand that I'm going to teach someone to listen. If I'm talking to a choleric and they keep interrupting, I'm going to say, you need to shut up for 5 minutes and let me tell you what you need to do. They don't mind being talked to that way, because that's the way they talk to people. But if you don't know that about them, if you don't understand them, you're not going to give them what they need. Because remember, we need to navigate them. We need to be encouragers. But I need to know what their social style. I need to know they're a rhino. And if they're a rhino, I'm good with that. I just need to know it. The other one is a phlegmatic. That's the turtle. I call it, that's like a turtle or a panda. That would be a panda bear. That would kind of be, if you can visualize a phlegmatic personality, it's the turtle or the panda bear, right? What do they need? They don't need to be challenged. They need to be encouraged, right? They're the most loyal people, right? They move slowly. Their heads come out of the shell every once in a while. They get excited and they move a few steps and they go right back in the shell. That's the way they live their lives. They're afraid of people. They're afraid of change. They fear change greatly. If I know that about them, the worst thing I can do is challenge them and get in their face and get on them a little bit, like I can do with a rhino or I can do with a choleric. But if I don't understand that about them, I don't have the relationship. I don't have the glue. So we can't lead by our social style. If you're a choleric, you can't be a choleric to a phlegmatic. You have to understand what a phlegmatic needs so that you can help them grow and change and be what they need to be. The greatest fear of a phlegmatic is change. They're afraid to change. That's a great fear for them. They just want to get life as a turtle, moving slowly. They lack motivation a lot of times. And it's not that they don't have dreams and goals. It's just that they lack motivation because they're afraid to do something different. If I know that about them, then they're going to get extra encouragement from me. I'm going to need to navigate them different than I do with a choleric. The other personality is a sanguine. The animal for that is a monkey. They swing by their tail. They're the happiest people. They're swinging around the cage all the time. But what sanguines need? They need to be complimented. They need to constantly be told that they're good looking, they're beautiful, that they can do it, that they're doing great things with their life. They need to constantly be complimented. Cholerics don't need to be complimented. They just need to be challenged. Phlegmatics don't need to be complimented because a lot of times they see it as false. They just want to be encouraged. And you know what they lack the most, sanguines? They lack organization and follow-through. They're the least organized people and the worst at following through. If I understand that about them, then I know how I can help them. I need to set up a plan for them. I need to create strong accountability with them. I need to keep them on track. I need to realize they're emotional beings. Today they're high, tomorrow they're low. If they're not having fun today, it's not a good day. If I understand all of that, then I can help them change. So you're going to have monkeys in your group. They're the most fun at parties. They're the most fun people up on stage. They're the most fun people up there. But you know what? With each of them, they're people. The biggest challenge a lot of times for sanguines is they're overly obsessed with people having to confirming themselves by other people instead of getting their own confirmation of who they are. They need from other people. And so if we understand that, again, we build the glue, we build relationships, we become a people expert. And the last one's a melancholic personality. That's the one who needs exact direction and a plan, right? Exact direction and a plan. And those people are analytical. Those are the people that have the string hanging in their garage with a tennis ball on it, and when the car windshield touches it, they know to stop so they don't hit the front of their garage. A lot of you are laughing right now because I know you probably know someone in your life like that. But you know what their animal is? They're an owl. Owls are strategic. Owls know when they're going to hunt. They know when they're going to sleep. They know when they're awake. They know exactly where they're going to land every night and where they're going to sit, waiting for their dinner, waiting for their prey. So a big part of a melancholy is the owl. If you can imagine an owl, the big old eyes looking around constantly, analyzing their lives. And so what they need is exact direction. The greatest thing you can say to a melancholy is take out a piece of paper and a pencil. I've got 10 things for you to do. Oh my gosh, they salivate. That's the greatest thing they could ever hear. You say that to a sanguine, they go, oh no. And then they're going to lose the list anyway. And so, each personality is very changing. What does the melancholy lack? Relaxation, charisma, and the charisma to lead, right? They're too detail-oriented. They need too much information to be able to move forward. But if I understand that and I know that, then I can work with them and I can help them. So, melancholies are uptight a lot of the time. Anyway, all of that to tell you that learning, becoming people experts, learning to build relationships in this business becomes such a vital part of it. It's the very thing that will hold your business together long term. I remember my sponsor in the Amway business said this to me. He said, you want to build a huge business? Because if you broke 6 direct legs, you had 6 directions of business, you were going to make a lot of money and be really successful. He said, just go find 6 people that would cut their right arm off for you. But you got to be willing to cut them both off for them. And I always remember that was such an emotional, or that was such a, just a dramatic thing to say. But as I started building my business, I realized that was so true. Because people looking for someone to lead, people are looking for someone to befriend them and to be close to them and to care about them. And when you build that kind of loyalty with someone, those people are there. They're part of your army, and you don't need 1,000 of them to build a huge business. You can build it with a dozen. When I look at my business, I think I had 10,000 people in my group, and I was making a lot of money and I was successful. But I had 12 people that would cut the right arm off for me. But you know what? I worked on building those relationships. I was the encourager in their life. I was the one who was there when no one else was. I was the one who spoke truth in their life. I was the one who was willing to be strong when they were weak. I was the one who was not willing to join a pity party for them. That's what built the glue of my business. That's why it went to 20,000, 25, 30, 30,000 and upward. It was because of those relationships that I had that kept the business together, that those people were going to be with you for the long haul because they got it. It was their sweet spot. And you became the encourager and the person in their life that made the difference. I want to close this morning by talking about a couple things. First, what we've talked about today, before I started working with Beachbody, one of the things I did is I had a business card that said smoke jumper, and I would go into corporations and they would hire me for a 6-month period that were having problems in their company. And I would spend 6 months evaluating the company and evaluating the problems. And 99.9% of the time, the problems was always people. It was the people in the room, the environment in the room, because there was no leader there that could create morale. There was no leader there that became what I talked about, these 7 points today, the encourager to them, the navigator to them. And when a company's been run, or the infrastructure of a company lacks leadership and lacks people that can bring a team together, because any management or VP or president level in a company is a coach. That's what they're doing. So they need to learn these social styles. They need to learn what makes their people work. They need to learn what's going on with the conflicts within the personalities of a corporation or a company. That's exactly what we're doing. You're the CEO of a major company. That's your business. I don't care if you got 12 coaches or 14,000 coaches. You're the CEO of that company. You're the smoke jumper. You're the ones putting out fires. You're the ones dealing with personality problems and personality issues. And so, it's 6 months in the group that I write an evaluation of. And you know what? 99% of the time it was, this person needs to go. This person needs to move to a different position. It was always shifting and moving because it had to do with the morale of the team that ran that business. Well, your team is out there. They're working this business every day, some of them less than others. But there are people that are looking to you as a CEO of a company, as a leader. So the glue in your business starts with you as being and taking charge and running that company the way a CEO should run it. But let me close with 5 strong points. All right, here's what you need to be to have the glue in your business to build a huge organization that will be here 50 years from now when some of us aren't even here any longer. Number 1 is you need to listen more than you talk. You need to listen more than you talk. That's a strong statement for a CEO of a company. It's a strong statement for a coach. That when you sit down with someone, they the old saying, they don't really care what you know until they know that you care. There's a lot of truth in that. But you need to learn to be a greater listener than a talker. Sometimes we sit down with people, we think we got to give them all the information we can give them, and all they're looking for is someone to what? Encourage them, someone to believe in them. You'll sponsor people in this business not because of how much knowledge you give them, but because of the way you listen to them. And that because you know why? You're going to win immediately. Because if I sit down with 10 people, 9 of them are talkers and 1's a listener, you become the listener, and those people, all of a sudden, they're drawn to you. They're drawn to you as a coach. They're drawn to you as a person. That's what grows your relationships. That's what grows your business. That's what's the glue of your business. Number 2, you got to care more than instruct. You got to care more than instruct. So many times we think we just need to constantly give people instruction. You don't need to do that. You just need to be there. So, sure, we need to give instruction, but we need to live it. I'd rather be a carer and doer than I would be someone who just instructs, because I want them to watch my life. I want them to watch me change rank every 90 days. I want them to watch me go 2-star, 5-star, 7-star, 8-star, 10-star. That's what's going to grow their business. I'm going to care for them, and I'm going to show them the example of what this business is about. So number 2 is you got to care more than you instruct. Number 3, you got to give truth more than flattery. You got to give truth more than you give flattery. Flattery is just compliments that just keep coming out, and eventually they're void. There's no truth in them. They become nothing but flattery. You don't want to be a flattery. You don't want to be flattery. You want to be truth. And sometimes that's hard. And sometimes I have to sit down with a coach, and I will preface it by saying this. Do you want me to speak to you? You want me to tell you what's going to make you feel good? Or do you want me to be truthful about your life? And for some people, that's hard to take because they take it as an attack almost. But when you've built the relationship with them, you've earned the right to speak the truth into their life. But until you've earned that right, truth will come back void. So you build the relationship, you become the encourager, you become the navigator, you become the person that can lead, and then your truth will be accepted by them about their life and about what needs to change. But don't be a leader that does nothing but flattery and complimenting this, complimenting that, always coming out of your mouth, because eventually you become phony. It's not real anymore. So be truthful with your coaches. You want to build glue in your business, you want to build relationships that last forever, you've got to be truthful and not a person of flattery. Number 4, give more than you take. Okay? You want to build a glue, you want to build something that'll be here in 50 years, you need to give more than you take. Right? You need to get in the business, and you need to go out and you need to give your life away. You need to go out and do exposures every day because you're giving more than you take. And you get involved in the lives of your people and lead them, and you're giving more than you take. Because when you give, you receive. It comes back to you 1,000 times. But you have to first become that giver. And you have to. It's almost become selfless. It's not about you. It's about them. And as a leader, if we do that, then we begin to see the profound growth in our business. So you got to give more than you ever take in this business. And some of you that have coaches upline, you need to call them today when you get off this call and say, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, what you mean to me in my life, what you've been to me in my life. Because so much of the time we find ourselves taking from our upline, taking from the leaders of an organization, always wanting from them to give to me. What about what you've given to them? When was the last time you encouraged your coach or somebody upline or somebody in your life that's made an incredible difference in your life? But we spend all the time taking from them and never giving back to them. Don't ever get to a point where you think the top leaders in this business don't need encouragement. They need it more than anybody else because their tanks are empty a lot of the time because they're the ones people plug into to suck all the energy out of so that they can go forward, and they don't get what they need. So give more than you take in this business. And number 5, this is a little different one, but it's a really profound thing you need to learn to have the glue. You need to know your limits, and then you need to know when to turn away. Some of the people in your group, you guys, you know what? You give to them and you give to them and you give to them, and they're not receiving it because they don't want to change their lives. They don't want to. They don't have the big enough dream. There's too much fear there right now, and so we give and we keep doing it, and they eventually we become weary. We become tired. And one of the things I've always said, if you're trying to get more out of your people, go get more people. Go get someone else that wants to receive the truth, that wants to be instructed, that wants to be cared for, wants to be listened to. Find those people and work with them. Larry talks about it, right? Work with a willing. Okay, if they're not, then you need to learn to turn away. And I know for some of you that's a hard thing to do. By turn away, do you mean you walk away from them forever? Absolutely not. But I don't give those people my time because if I do, it's killing my credibility. Because they don't believe in a business where someone spends time with doing the things that everybody's told that won't happen. And that is like if you don't work, you don't get time with your leaders. And yet, as leaders, some of you give time to people that don't deserve it. And you know what it does? It begins to falsify what we say from the stage, on our DVDs, on our training, and the willing. Well, some of you are working with the unwilling. And you know what? You need to know your limits. I think you actually can motivate someone to become successful. I learned a long time ago, and this really helped me, is I can't motivate anybody to become successful. I tried it in my business. I actually shed tears over people that quit my business. That's how much I cared about them. But I finally had to turn away. And sometimes that turning away, that separation from them, puts them in a place where all of a sudden they begin to realize what they lost out on, or what was there that they wanted that they never did anything to deserve. And so it can turn some of your people around. But you can't do it by continuing to be there when they don't want to help themselves. And I learned that having an alcoholic mom. I begged her to quit drinking for years and years, but until she decided to, none of my words were void. I didn't want to be an enabler of people. Don't be an enabler of people. You can only work with those that are willing to change and to grow. And if people won't change, you can't work with them. And I've learned those lessons even recently from me in my life with people I've worked with. Is, you know what, you think they've changed, you think they've made a difference, you think life's changed, and all of a sudden you realize it hasn't. And you know what? You can't do anymore. So know your limits and when to turn away, and let those people go through what they need to. And if they're supposed to come back, they'll be back. And you're still going. You're still moving forward. You're still going to be growing and changing. So 5 points again. Listen more than you talk. Care more than you instruct. Give truth more than flattery. Give more and take less. Give more than you take. And last, know your limits and when it's time to turn away. So today in the reflection of this, of the glue, if we can learn to be people experts, if we can learn, and really what it is taking our eyes off ourselves and having a big enough thing that you're willing to go out and give your life away. And sometimes your tank's going to be empty. And my prayer for you is that every night you go to bed, your tank's empty, because you've given everything you could that day. And when you become that kind of a leader, and you look at the examples in this business of the top leaders, like I mentioned, Tracy and Doug, and you know, some of the top leaders in this business that are out there, watch their life. Givers. They're not people that are taking. They're giving more than they take. And why do they have the businesses they have and the organizations they have? The greatest thing they have is not the money they make. It's talking to their leaders as I travel around the country and hear what they say about those people. That's the glue. That's the relationships. That's what will keep your business and make it long and be here 50 years from now. So I just want you all to know that the glue in the business is you. It's your life. It's who you are. It's what you're about. Just take some time today to reflect, and take some time today to go out and to give your life away and make a difference in the lives of the people around you. Today's talk wasn't about technique. It wasn't about fundamentals. It wasn't even about P90X or Shakeology. But what I gave you today, if you understand it, is the most profound information you can have to grow an organization that will be here for a lifetime. So thanks, everybody. It's been great sharing another day with you. I look forward to next Tuesday and our final talk. But God bless you, and just have an absolutely wonderful day. Thanks.